Hey everyone, I'm Joshua Orro, the Mustang Prince, and welcome to Mustang Prince Orro Reports. And, oh boy, do I have a real doozy to blog for you today. Now first, I need to talk about 20th Century Fox's animation studio, Blue Sky Studios. I mean, don't get me wrong, most of their films are great, like Robots, Horton Hears a Who, Rio, Epic, and of course the Peanuts movie. But to me, their weakest franchise, in my opinion, is Ice Age. AKA Blue Sky Studios' first animated feature. In this film from 2002, Sid, a talkative sloth, is left behind by his family, and the herds of mammals are journeying to the south. He meets Manny, a mammoth who's traveling to the north, and decides to follow him. When a human's camp is attacked by saber-toothed tigers, a woman takes her baby, jumps into a river, and falls over a waterfall. Before she disappears, the baby is rescued by Manny and Sid. The two animals decide to search for the father and return the baby to him. Diego, one of the tigers that attacked the humans, comes also claiming the baby, and the trio forms an uneasy alliance during their journey to the humans. Ugh, how cliched. Though, it wasn't the worst, it was just weak to me. The animation was good, the story was alright, as well as a few of the characters being okay, but I'll give it a 63% out of 100. In 2006, a second movie was released called Ice Age 2: The Meltdown. In there, Manny, Sid, and Diego are currently living in a large valley surrounded by an enormous, huge ice wall on all sides. However, the trio discovers that the ice wall is actually a wall that is barely holding a massive body of water that could flood the valley to nearly a mile underwater. A vulture tells them that there is a boat at the other end of the valley that may save them all, but they only have 3 days to reach it or die. Manny is also having trouble fearing the fact that he may be the last mammoth left. Along the way, they meet Ellie, a mammoth who thinks she's a possum, and her possum brothers Crash and Eddie. As they begin to travel together, Manny learns, with help from Diego and Sid, that he must move on from his past. To me, this was a little better than the first film, but still not perfect though. I still enjoyed Ellie's addition to the franchise, and I thought that she and Manny make a nice couple. My rating, 70%. Then, in 2009, a third one came along called Ice Age 3: Dawn of the Dinosaurs. In this film, Manny and Ellie are expecting their first child, while Scrat falls in love with a fellow squirrel. Meanwhile, Diego is anxious about settling down for a domestic life with Manny's new family. Sid begins to wish for a family of his own, and steals some dinosaur eggs, which leads to Sid ending up in a strange underground world where his herd must rescue him. The herd also meets an insane one-eyed weasel known as Buck, who aids them on their quest. To be honest, in my opinion, this was the best out of all the Ice Age films. Plus the use of dinosaurs were pretty cool. This film deserves an 84% in my book. But then, in 2012, things went really downhill for the franchise when the fourth film, Ice Age 4: Continental Drift, came along. The film took place several years after the events of the third film, with Peaches now a teenager. Scrat's pursuit of acorns has world-changing consequences, separating Manny, Sid, and Diego from the rest of their group. As they try to return home, they come into conflict with a pirate gang led by Captain Gut. In my opinion, This film was really mediocre, with lousy humor and writing, including bland characters. I give this film a 56% out of 100. And just last year, a fifth movie was released in theaters, and unfortunately, it's the subject of my blog today. So, let's just get this over with already. Released on July 22nd, 2016, the movie is Ice Age 5 Collision Course. In this film, Scrat's epic pursuit of the elusive acorn catapults him into the universe, where he accidentally sets off a series of cosmic events that transform and threaten the Ice Age world. To save themselves, Sid, Manny, Diego, and the rest of the gang must leave their home and embark on a quest full of comedy and adventure, traveling to exotic new lands and encountering a host of colorful new characters. So, my thoughts? This movie was really dumb. Let's just move on to Mustang notes already. The concept of Collision Course was deeply rooted in a scene from the first Ice Age film, where Manny and his friends are walking through an ice cave and they spot a spaceship that's encased in ice, an item that inspired this film in the series. As with the third film, which also inspired by the ice cave scene, in which the herd comes across a dinosaur that was encased in ice. The team went back to the first film to search for a possible inspiration for the next installment. The characters were first-hand drawn on animation software, complete with color and animated clips of the characters doing specific actions. They were then sent to be hand-sculpted with clay, and ultimately scanned into CGI software and animated around the model. The Figaro's Aria sequence, which involved Buck saving an egg from a trio of dromaeosaurs, proved to be one of the most challenging sequences for Blue Sky Studios animators, as it involved a continuous, uninterrupted shot that ran for about 2 minutes long. It was one of the first scenes that put into production, but also one of the last to exit production due to its time-consuming and difficult structure, as the team would be able to produce 3 or 4 seconds of footage a week. Now, one of the things I have to give the movie credit for is the animation. In my opinion, Blue Sky has improved greatly since the first film, but I still have some nitpicks with the animal's fur looking a tad rough and thick, and several parts of the film made me cringe a bit. Plus, some of the comedy is okay, but sometimes it's pretty much over the top and overused, with a few being gross and embarrassing, and several gags being repetitive and unnecessary, including the scenes in space that involve Scrat. As for the story, well, it's a bit cliched. It's pretty much your typical end-of-the-world themed story, kind of like Deep Impact or Armageddon, with a bit of a romantic family relationship put into it. But on the other hand, it does bring back memories from the third film. Now it's time to move on to voices. Almost everyone from the franchise reprises their roles, including Ray Romano as Manny, the woolly mammoth, and leader of the herd, John Leguizamo as Sid, the annoying ground sloth and founder of the herd, Dennis Leary as Diego, the badass saber-toothed tiger, Queen Latifah as Ellie, Manny's wife, Sean William Scott and Josh Peck as Ellie's Possum brothers, Crash and Eddie. KK Palmer as Peaches, Manny and Ellie's teenage daughter. Adam Devine as Peaches' fiance, Julian. Jennifer Lopez as Shira, Diego's wife. Wanda Sykes as Sid's grandmother, Granny. Including Simon Pegg as Buck, the one-eyed weasel and dinosaur hunter from the third film, who reunites with the herd to warn them of the upcoming asteroid. And of course, Chris Wedge as the saber-toothed squirrel, Scrat, who in my opinion goes from funny to useless to just plain repetitive. Now let's move on to the new characters, starting with the spiritual leader of Geotopia, Shangri-Lama, voiced by Jesse Tyler Ferguson. This guy is a yoga-loving llama who is very flexible. His personality is very laid back, but he can be easily stressed out. Next we have Brooke, voiced by Jessie J. Brooke is a beautiful ground sloth from Geotopia and Sid's love interest, since his last girlfriend, Francine, broke up with him earlier in the film. One thing I like about her, other than her beauty, is her singing voice at the end of the movie. And finally, we have Gavin, the dromaeosaur, voiced by Nick Offerman, who has been in films like Hotel Transylvania 2, Sing, and We're the Millers. He'll also be cast in Blue Sky's next animated feature, Ferdinand, this December. Not only is this guy the villain, but he's part of an extended family of flying dino birds. Now let's move on to my final words. Overall, Ice Age 5 Collision Course is a real big stinker out of all the Ice Age films out there. The animation is good, as well as a few of the voice acting, but the writing is weak, the main characters are dull and uninteresting, the side characters are bland, and the new ones are pretty forgettable. Plus the humor has been used too many times that they are really getting old really quickly. So, do I recommend this movie? Well, no. So, I give this film a low score of 42%. Well, that's it for today, everybody. Be sure to join me again for my next blog, which I hope I'll be in a better mood by then. Mustang Power.